Now from Marilyn's crypt, we're walking over to another very special celebrity over here, whose death was mired in controversy and is still an open case from what I understand.
Yeah, that's my favorite, but
there we go.
I don't care. I didn't know you had to be
Natalie Wood. So I'm here visiting Natalie Wood. Now this case was reopened, I believe, in 2011 and maybe again in 2018, I think, but we have not heard anything since her case was reopened and it was deemed that she died of a accidental drowning with possible unknown circumstances, I think is the term. So on the boat that night, I'm calling it a boat, 65 foot. They call it a yacht, but you know, I have a garden hose that's 50 feet in my backyard. Anyways, 65 feet is not very big. And the other occupant on the boat was actor Christopher Walken, who was starring with Natalie in Brainstorm. To know how Christopher Walken and Robert Wagner sleep at night. How do they sleep at night? That's what I want to know. Again, I like both these guys. I like all their acting work, all that kind of stuff. But that's not what we're talking about, guys. We're talking about Natalie Wood's mysterious death. Why did she drown? How did she drown? What happened? What was leading up to the time that she went missing? Same thing with Marilyn. Who was there? Why were they there? All that stuff, the witnesses, all that stuff. These cases are very similar. Now here's what's so fishy about this story, guys, about Robert Wagner. I'm gonna have to go over to his house over in Beverly Hills, his and Natalie's house. But right after the event, Robert Wagner did not claim his wife's body. He did not identify Natalie Wood's body. And he and Christopher Walken got on a helicopter and flew back to LA. So yeah, there's so many things on that tape that lead me to believe that Christopher Walken knew exactly what happened that night. Was it some type of love triangle with Natalie, or was it something else between Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken? Yeah, when I heard that the captain, Dennis Davern, was instructed to come down into the cabin, in which RJ poured him like a triple bourbon or scotch, and they sat down there wondering what to do for, what, some 2 hours or something? There's a big lag of time in between the time that, that Natalie went over, supposedly, when she was missing, and the time that she that they actually notified somebody about her being missing. So yeah, guys, that's really suspicious when there's a huge gap of time, the time that she's found that she's missing and then the time that it's reported that she's been missing. Supposedly they called the restaurant on Catalina Island, the Isthmus side, which is the very quiet side of the island, by the way, and they didn't see her. And I also heard allegedly that RJ called his attorney before he called the Coast Guard. I don't know. But yeah, I would love to meet and interview Lana Wood because she's been keeping this story alive along with Dennis Davern, the captain, and people have written books about this. Goodbye Natalie, Goodbye Splendor. You can go pick that up. The topic is just very fascinating to me. And but I have more information. Get this, don't go anywhere. So you guys have seen me do many videos on Marilyn, JFK, RFK. You've seen me do videos on Manson and Ronan Farrow and Woody Allen and Mia Farrow and Frank Sinatra. Well, guess what? What's the common denominator in all these stories? It keeps popping up, this one name. Who is it? And that one name is Francis Albert Sinatra, otherwise known as Frank Sinatra. Keeps popping up. Now, just when you think you knew everything about a topic or a mystery, you find out new information, and I did. Just the other day, I found out that Frank Sinatra pressured the board of commission, I guess, or board of supervisors, or whatever it is, of, I guess, the coroners union or whatever, to have Thomas Noguchi fired because Thomas Noguchi was looking into this theory that Natalie Wood didn't die of an accidental drowning. Now, is it very strange to you that Frank would step in? He's a very loyal guy, and he really liked RJ, and he loved Natalie, but we're trying to get to the bottom of her, whatever, quote-unquote, mysterious demise, and Frank Sinatra is standing in the way of that. I mean, let the chips fall where they might. Just let them investigate. But of course, the more I look into our buddy Frank Sinatra, I am surprised, well, not really, but that he's involved in all these stories, guys. The story's not intertwined enough, guys. Let's talk about this. Tina Sinatra, I just found out, was engaged to who? Robert Wagner. That's right. I don't know the exact year, but I believe that it was in between, whatever, his marriage and his marriage to Natalie Wood. But the engagement was called off with Frank Sinatra's youngest daughter, Tina Sinatra. Now, one could only imagine if Tina Sinatra had married RJ and ended up missing off his boat. I mean, I really wonder who would really be sleeping with the fishes. Now, I also learned a little bit about Christopher Walken. He's been married to the same woman for a long time. He was a Broadway performer, dancer, trained ballet dancer before he was a song and dance man, ballet dancer, before he was actually in the movies. And, you know, there's talk about some rumors about him and RJ. I'm not going to go into it. You can only just use your imagination to understand what I'm talking about. But I just don't know. But either way, we need to know the whole story, especially from Christopher Walken, because he's literally just feet away on a little boat, 65 feet, with paper-thin walls. I just don't buy it, guys. I don't buy what he just said in that tape. Now here's some more juicy info that I found out recently, that the captain of the Splendor that night, Dennis Davern, who said that something happened, he assisted in writing a book about this event. He actually moved in with Robert Wagner in Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood's home in Beverly Hills and lived there, I guess, rent-free after Natalie had drowned. Do you think that's suspicious? And not only that, Robert Wagner got Dennis Davern a job on the show Heart to Heart. So it seems like he's controlling Dennis, he's keeping him close. Dennis realized after a while, hey, there's something not right here. And he lived there a year, and somehow he was able to leave. Now, one would have to ask, why did Dennis go and live with RJ if he thought something happened to Natalie and that RJ had anything to do with it? Why did he go live there? Well, he said that, you know, the living in Beverly Hills with a pool and an endless amount of drinks and a nice lifestyle where he would have reign of the property, and that's why he lived there, is because he was getting addicted to the high life of the Hollywood lifestyle. Now, the case was reopened because of all the hubbub about the book, etc. It was reopened, and the detectives wanted to speak to Robert Wagner, but he refused. and he would not come and talk to the detectives who reopened this case. Wood did not want to believe that RJ had anything to do with it, and that there was a holiday occasion, I believe it was Thanksgiving possibly, where Lana called the Wagner house speaking to, I think, their daughter, I think it's Katie, asking how's RJ, I hope he's all right, and blah blah blah. And she said, yeah, I didn't want him to be alone on the holiday. And she said, Katie said, I believe, oh no, we got that covered. And she's like, oh, so we're just gonna have we're gonna have a Thanksgiving. And she's like, oh, well, what time should I come over? And she's like, no, we're gonna have a small gathering. And that's when Lana Wood believed that she was completely out of the family along with the mother. And I'm not sure if you've seen the footage of Natalie Wood's sister, Lana Wood, confronting RJ out in public. She sort of ambushed him and started asking him questions about this, and he acted very agitated and very defensive, of course. And basically he never really gave Lana Wood a real good answer to what happened to her sister. Now, I want to be respectful to Natalie. I don't want to talk about anything that would disrespect her legacy or her persona. So I'm not going to go into any of the detail of the specific detail, but Natalie Wood over her career was used and abused by men. This one guy, Nicholas Ray, who was the director, 42-year-old director of Rebel Without a Cause, and he got into a physical affair with Natalie Wood, who was an underage 17-year-old, I believe, at the time. So, wow, that was just so tragic. She was such a great actress and such a great person, human being. How could anybody not help a woman who fell in the water? Dennis Davern, the captain, says that he asked RJ to turn on the spotlight, and RJ told him don't. And he went down into the galley and poured him a triple bourbon, scotch, whatever, and they got intoxicated when Natalie was in this frigid water off Catalina Island. Just terrible. So we will actually never really know the true facts of what happened that night.